Hey guys, Amanda here at Bare Bones Living, and I wanted to share with you guys something that I have been looking for a while. I've been interested in getting a roasting oven for quite some time now. I make my own bone broths and things like that, and I have a crock pot, and I have some smaller stock pots, I guess you would call them, but they're not very large. So everything that I make is always in small batches. And a roasting oven really expands that. I could put multiple chickens in here or multiple carcasses to make a big batch of broth, or big batches of pasta sauce. And so I've really been interested in finding a roasting oven. But I also like to live frugally, and I didn't want to spend a bunch of money on a brand new roasting pan. So I just went to Goodwill the other day, and there just happened to be the perfect roasting pan. So I wanted to share that with you and then show you what I'm actually cooking with that today. So check out this bad boy. This is a Nesco roasting oven. It's an 18 quart, and it looks fairly new. I mean, I think it's probably a couple years old or a couple generations old of the Nesco. But that's a big brand name that a lot of people use. And it is very lightly used. So it was either very well taken care of or just stored properly. I gave it a whole full in and out washing. And I mean, it even came with the warranty slip and the instructions for it. So it was very lightly used. But I'm very happy with it, and I only paid $8 for this thing, guys. I'm so excited to have found it. I mean, how can you get $8 for this monster that can just do so much in the kitchen for me? So today in this roasting oven is my maiden voyage. I've never used one of these before, but it has functions like slow cook, roast, bake, steam. It's basically like a big combination of a slow cooker and an oven. And like I said, it's 18 quarts. And what I'm doing today is I am making a big batch of pasta sauce from my garden. So I'll show you what I got in here. So this is tomatoes and zucchini and onions and peppers and garlic and some odds and ends vegetables that I might have had in the refrigerator. I started it last night, and I'll put in a short clip here. So this is what I started probably now an hour ago. You can see these tomatoes are kind of wrinkly and funny looking. It's because they were all frozen. Most of the large tomatoes were from our freezer. Actually, one of the bags, I have 3 bags of frozen tomatoes in here. One of the bags was still from last year's tomatoes that I found in the freezer. But there's also fresh tomatoes in there, and there's cherry tomatoes. It's just all sorts of tomatoes in there. I put some fresh green beans in there, chopped up some zucchini, some of my garlic cloves are in there. I chopped up a couple of onions that I grew, some carrots, and some squash. And I think that's everything that is in here so far. Oh, and cauliflower that I just had sitting in the refrigerator. So this is just like a vegetable medley pasta sauce. So we'll check back in the morning. Zucchini and squash, everything was whole when I put it in. And I roasted it overnight at like 350 or 325-ish. Just to break everything down. And then this morning I came and stirred it all up. And this is what we've got so far. So when I stirred everything up, you can see that there's still a couple of bigger chunks. That's some zucchini. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take my immersion blender and I'm just going to chop all this up, and then you can also see that there's quite a bit of liquid in here. Like I said, they were frozen. So as those thawed and broke down, they released a lot of liquid. So I'm going to have to reduce this quite a bit to get like a thick pasta sauce. This is just a great garden fresh pasta sauce that I thought I'd take you guys along on. So here I have my immersion blender, and I'm just going to blend all this up to make it a smooth sauce so it's not so chunky. Alright, so that looks pretty mixed up there. And as you can see, that was, there was lots of big chunks in there. I had, big chunks of carrots and zucchinis, and there's still a couple of little chunks that need to get broken down so that you get more of like a sauce. So that's like a fun part to do, is immersion blending, but it's also kind of a scary part because this is obviously very hot. I don't know if you can see the steam coming off, but this thing will spit. I got a couple of splashes on my arm as I was doing this, so I got the boys in the back. In their playroom so that they don't get accidentally sprayed being around me. I would hate to have them get burned with this because it's pretty hot. Alright, so that looks pretty good. There might still be a couple of, ooh, yep, see there's a whole, whole carrot there. That's just a trial and error thing. And the carrots add a nice sweetness to the sauce without having to add tons of sugar. It's a natural sweetener. I'm still going to be adding sweetener to this because I like a sweet pasta sauce. But every little bit of natural sweetness that I can get in there, I'm going to use. Stay back, baby. Not while I'm doing this. Thank you. Alright. Looks pretty nice and ground up. I'm not running across any other chunks. But it's still pretty thin. So I'm going to turn up the heat a little bit to reduce this, to get it to boil off again a little bit. Boil some of this liquid off, and then I'm going to be putting in my additives. Alright, what do you think?
Good.
Does that look yummy?
Yeah, what is that?
That's gonna, yeah?
Pasta sauce.
Ooh, does that look yummy, yummy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you cooking pasta?
Well, I'm going to be cooking pasta, yeah. After I'm done with all this, making all this sauce. So it was really funny. We were actually watching another YouTube video the other day of someone making this pasta sauce. And Hunter goes, Mommy, what's she making? And I said, pasta sauce. And he goes, that looks yummy. And he goes, Mommy, and she was making it in a roaster oven. And he goes, Mommy, didn't you just get one of those? I said, yes, I did. And he's like, so you're gonna make pasta sauce in yours? And I was like, would you like that? He's like, yeah. So that's why we're doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like just having the boys around me when I'm cooking, and I like them getting interested in what I'm cooking because then they're more prone to eat it. And it's just healthier too. So I think this is going to taste really, really good. And you're excited? Thank you. Okay, so at this point I let a little bit more cook off. It's thicker, so I would like it just a little bit more thick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some tomato paste to help thicken it up. I just currently have one little can of tomato paste to add, but I don't have a ton of sauce here, so I think it'll be plenty. I'm also going to be adding, like I said, some sugar. I'm going to start low with the sugar. And I can always add more as this cooks a little bit more. After I add, right now I'm adding all of my little additives to it. I'm going to add a sweetener, a thickener, and then I'm going to add seasonings right now. And then I'm going to let it cook all together for the flavors to meld. And then I can adjust it as needed. So I'm going to say a 1/4 cup of brown sugar to start. We'll see what that does for us. I'm going to add some oregano. This is my homegrown oregano. It's going to seem like a lot of seasonings and stuff, but there's a good couple of servings in here that I'm going to be canning up. So it's not like it's all going into one meal. And then I have some basil here. And then I'm going to salt and pepper it as well. And I dry my herbs whole, and then I crush them up as I use them to release kind of liven up the flavor and release the oils of the herbs right as I'm using them. If I was to do this right after I dried them, if I was to crush these up when I first dried these and stored them all crushed up, then they might lose some of their potency. So I choose to keep them whole, and then just break them up right before I use them. And then I'll salt and pepper.
Come and put it back on the plane. Thank you, come and put it back on the plane. It looks wrong.
We'll mix this all up and let it cook a little bit longer. Let the flavors meld a little bit more. You boys want to look at it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why we waited, Mommy.
Yeah.
That's why we waited and played with my favorite new toy plane.
Oh.
Thank you,
Alright, come here.
Okay.
See? It's all mixed up, and we're gonna let it cook a little bit longer.
Up.
Hold on, Cole. I can only hold on to one of you at a time. And then we'll taste test it, yeah? You want to be a taste tester?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Call me on your turn. Come here. Okay. Are you smelling it? Does it smell good?
I already smelled it, Mommy.
Yeah, well, that's Cole's turn now.
Yeah. Cool. Turn.
Cole's turn, that's
Yeah,
right.
that's you, Coleman. Coleman, can you say, delicious? Can you say that, Coleman?
Delicious, that's right.
Delicious, Mommy.
Alright, well, we'll check on it later, okay?
Yeah, we'll check on it later.
Okay. So I turned down the heat and let these flavors meld a little bit more. The tomato paste, excuse me, definitely did the trick, and it's much thicker. Now you can see that it kind of mounds up and stays up on top of the sauce. So it's a nice thickness. And then I actually think that it's sweet enough as well. So I'm pretty happy with this. So now what I'm gonna do is actually can this for future use. For over like the winter or something like that. Alright, so I'm going to be canning this pasta sauce, and in all in all transparency, I ended up doubling all the herbs, salt, pepper, oregano, and basil, and that seemed to really bring out the flavor that I was looking for. So I'm going to just put a tablespoon of lemon juice in each of these pint jars. I have no idea how much pasta sauce this is going to make, so I'm just going to prepare 3 pint jars, and we'll see how far that gets us. So these jars were also warm. I just took them out of my dishwasher because this pasta sauce is warm. You want to maintain the temperature. And I'm going to fill this up to a 1/2 inch of headspace. Oops. Oh, it has a little bit too much in it. So we'll actually scoop some of this out. And that's why we wipe the rims of the jars before we seal them anyway, in case you get any spills or drips. You don't want it to impact how the jars actually seal. Just a little more in this one. So I'll just keep filling jars until all the pasta sauce has been canned. So I still have more pasta sauce to make, but I didn't process enough jars, and I don't have a big water bath canner pot, so I have to just process them in a little pot that I have, and I can only fit 4 at a time anyway. So I'm gonna start processing these. While I'm processing more cans or more jars. So I am just taking a rag with vinegar on it, and I'm going around the rim of each jar. And you can see that I've gotten quite a bit of pasta sauce. So that would have just definitely impacted how these got sealed. So then I'll put on these lids. And then I put on a ring, and I just put it on fingertip tight. And then I'm going to water bath these for 35 minutes. So I processed my first 4. And I loaded up another 4 jars. I had 5 from the first batch, but I didn't think I could fit all 5 in there. But apparently I could, because I fit 5 into this one. But some of these are wide mouth and some of them are regular mouth, so I had more of the regular mouth jars in this one. So I think it gave me a little bit extra room that I could squeeze that last jar in there. So I'm really happy with this outcome here. I got 9 pint jars of homemade pasta sauce that I'm gonna let sit here on a towel overnight to fully seal. You may have just heard the one, I believe it was this one that actually pinged. When they start to cool, you can actually hear this lid suction down. And you want to listen for that ping, but then still leave them for 24 hours, and then you actually take off these exterior rings when everything is cool. And then after that 24 hours, they are supposedly completely sealed, and you can put them into your pantry. So I can't wait to use these over the course of the winter when we don't have fresh tomatoes to be making into instant sauce. Thank you guys for stopping by today and joining in on our journey here at Barebones Living. We'll catch you on the next one.